I guess we're getting into climate change now. Interesting things on Twitter. People talking about climate change on Twitter. As usual. This guy, David Roberts, says around half of the cumulative emissions reductions that would move the world onto a sustainable trajectory compared to baseline trends comes from four main technology approaches. Let's see what he has to say. These are the electrification and end-use sectors, such as heating and transport, the application of carbon capture, utilization and storage, the use of low-carbon hydrogen and hydrogen-derived fuels, and the use of bioenergy. Wow, so this guy is like super, thinks that we're going to tech ourselves out of this. We're going to carbon price and tech ourselves out of this. A really good comment right below is from Jorge Clooney, or George Clooney. Oh, come on already. More promotion of techno salvations, because I forgot the obvious. The tech is what put us all on the sinking ship going over the cliff. Anyways, a few arguments here, but whatever. There's a few of these guys, Michael Schellenberger being one of them too, that are running around Twitter like proposing all these like lovely utopian futures for the human race. If we only did this, if we only taxed carbon correctly, we could rule the universe. Whose voice am I doing? Anybody want to guess the voice? If we only had a low carbon hydrogen and hydrogen derived fuels, we could rule the universe. Gold star for anybody who can guess what voice I'm doing. Let's see. Zach Labe on Twitter keeping us abreast of the Arctic sea ice loss. This is today. About 195,000 square kilometers lower than the previous record. This is where we're at. This is today's Arctic sea ice record. This is us. And we are at record loss of sea ice. I wonder if it has to do with heat. I wonder. No, it's not Andy Rooney. It's a cartoon voice. Wonder if anybody got it. I'm looking. Yeah, I saw that, Sandy, in passing that you were talking about Michael Schellenberger. I see his posts on Twitter every once in a while. Every time I see his posts, I have to say something to him. Like, you fool. He's so wrong. No, it's not Jordan Peterson. It's Plankton from the cartoon SpongeBob SquarePants. Anyways, I like SpongeBob SquarePants. Sorry. Not sorry. I can do other voices from SpongeBob SquarePants, but I'm not going to do them today. Here's a very interesting. Well, EcoFix, guys, have you ever heard of this? Is anybody aware of this? This is from EcoWatch from July 9th, which is yesterday. Rock dust could remove billions of tons of CO2 from the atmosphere, scientists say. Did you guys know this? Did you know this? Hold on, I'm going to try and open this a little bit. Maybe this is a bad idea. As we look for advanced technology, we're all looking for advanced technology to replace our dependence on fossil fuels and to rid the oceans of plastic. One solution to the climate crisis might simply be found in rocks. Did you know this, guys? Did you know this? New research found that dispersing rock dust over farmland could suck billions of tons of carbon dioxide from the air every year, according to the first detailed large-scale analysis of the technique. This is interesting. I have to how many fossil fuels are going to use to spread this rock dust or grind the rock to dust. You have to wonder about what the energy output would be for that. Gathering the rocks, mining the rocks, sorting the rocks, grinding the rocks, spreading the rocks, right? That's going to take a whole lot of energy. But anyways, the study published Wednesday in the journal Nature found the technique could pull enough carbon dioxide from the atmosphere to remove about half of the amount of that greenhouse gas currently produced by Europe. To put it another way, that would mean pulling more CO2 from the atmosphere than the current total emissions from global aviation and shipping combined. All right, but what if we just stopped global aviation and shipping combined? If we continue with global aviation and shipping, and then we grind rocks to dust and we spread them over farmland to suck up the carbon, and how long is that going to work? Anyways, it's interesting. It's an interesting idea. Well, I'm going to read a little more. Spreading rock dust on agricultural land is straightforward, practical CO2 drawdown approach. Is it a drawdown approach? Only if you stop the global aviation and shipping combined, and then do this, maybe, with the potential to boost soil health and food production, said David Bierling, director of the Leverhulme Center for Climate Change Mitigation at the University of Sheffield and lead author of the study. Our analysis reveal the big emitting nations, China, the U.S., and India, have the greatest potential to do this, emphasizing their need to step up to the challenge. The research showed that if the world's three largest emitters of CO2, China, the U.S., and India, adopted the practice on a large scale, they would collectively clear about 1 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide from the air. 1 billion metric tons. The technique of spreading rock on the ground is known as enhanced rock weathering. The researchers say their modeling of enhanced rock weathering is the most realistic yet because it factors in how much rock is available and the energy countries would be willing to use for grinding it up. I guess there's a lot of rock available, but so the weathering is a system where crushed rock is layered into the soil, as the Washington Post explained. When silicate or carbonate materials in the dust dissolve in rain, carbon dioxide is drawn from the atmosphere into the solution to form bicarbonate ions. I wonder how that might affect the soil. They form carbonate minerals and store their carbon, and so they run off into the ocean where they form carbonate minerals and store their carbon indefinitely. Yeah, I don't know. I have questions about this. I have big questions. It seems so not smart, but whatever. Slender says, but you cannot stop shipping and also spread the dust everywhere at the same time. What if we spread the dust from airplanes? I got it. Yeah, we're going to send airplanes up in the air with a bunch of rock dust. And what do you think? It's like the modern crop dusting. Osama says the chief source of problems is solutions. That's a quote from Eric Severeid. Where does the carbon dioxide go? It goes into the ocean, I guess. Andy the gardener, spreading the rocks about absorbs the carbon from mining the rocks, though. Right, exactly. There's sometimes, people have whole degrees in science. And they sit around and form committees and think up ideas like this. And then they're like, yeah, this is brilliant. Like, really? Okay. Whatever. It's something. Enhanced rock weathering. Well, again, why don't we just stop the shipping and the aviation? Brilliant. I've got a brilliant idea. Why don't we just stop doing that stuff? Rocks in their heads, says Boyle Rope Lamppost. Indeed. Hail Mary number 17, says Rich Diana. Yeah. Chris Lai says, well, it was a beautiful dream while it lasted. Yeah, this just, it was like, oh no. Anyways, so anyways, here we are at, here we are into more evidence that we are in a bad place. Again, every 3 months at least, I read the exact same article that tells us the exact same thing. But here's a brand new article. This is from yesterday that's going to tell us the exact same thing. But it's good to keep repeating this stuff, I guess, because a lot of people don't get it yet or don't understand it or have no clue entirely about any of this stuff. So maybe some brand new person on the planet is going to look at this article in The Guardian from yesterday and they're going to go, what? What? Really? And that's all you can hope for, really. So CO2 in Earth's atmosphere nearing levels of 15 million years ago. Last time CO2 was at a similar level, temperatures were 3C to 4C hotter and sea levels were 20 meters higher. So we're just waiting for temperatures and sea levels to catch up to the CO2 that is in the atmosphere. And guess what? If you thought that was bad, they're not even talking about CO2 equivalent. They're talking about CO2. If you add in methane and all the other nitrous oxide and all the other gases that are in the atmosphere that have heating properties, and if you add in water vapor on top of all that, but water vapor, we won't count water vapor as a CO2 equivalent. But if you add in methane and all the other gases, CO2 equivalent is like we're in the 500s. So it's even worse. It's even worse. Yeah, do it later, Guardian. I think I already registered. Anyways, the amount of carbon dioxide in the Earth's atmosphere is approaching a level not seen in 15 million years and perhaps never previously experienced by a hominoid. I'm annoyed too. According to the authors of a study, at pre-lockdown rates of increase, within 5 years, atmospheric CO2 will pass 427 parts per million. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is criminal. Okay, so they're trying to tell people that things are bad, but then they criminally say that in 5 years we'll pass 427. Look, we're at 418. You think it's going to take 5 years to get 9 more parts per million? No. And again, I say no. So that's ridiculous. We're at 418. It's not going to take 5 more years to get to 427 parts per million. That's totally stupid, which was the probable peak of the mid-Pliocene warming period 3.3 million years ago, when temperatures were 3C to 4C hotter and sea levels were 20 meters higher than today. But it seems we must now go much farther back to see what's ahead. Sometime around 2025, the Earth is likely to have CO2 conditions not experienced since the middle Miocene climatic optimum 15 million years ago, around the time our ancestors are thought to have diverged from orangutans and become recognizably hominoid. For the paper published in the journal Nature Scientific Reports, a team of researchers from the University of Southampton constructed a new high-resolution record of atmospheric CO2 during the Pliocene using data derived from the boron levels in the tiny fossils about the size of a pinhead collected from the deep ocean sediment of the Caribbean Sea. Or Caribbean, however you want to say it. This confirmed trends previously observed in ice cores, but also allowed a more precise estimate of the CO2 range in that geological epoch when levels of solar radiation were the same as today. A striking result we found is that the warmest part of the Pliocene had between 380 and 420 parts per million CO2 in the atmosphere. So we are at pretty much, we're just going to call it 420 because we're at over 418. One of the co-authors, Thomas Chalk, said, "This is similar to today's value of around 415. Showing that we are already at levels that in the past were associated with temperature and sea level significantly higher than today." That is actually true. Currently, our CO2 levels are rising at about 2.5 parts per million per year. Okay, well, maybe it will take us 5 years, but I really highly doubt that. meaning that by 2025, we will have exceeded anything seen in the last 3.3 million. It doesn't really matter because we're already at, they're saying the Pliocene had between 380 and 420. We're at 418. So we're at the upper edges of the Pliocene, parts per million in the atmosphere. So we're already there. It's already there. It's today. It's not 2025. It's today. In 2020, we'll have reached that epoch. We're actually at the higher edges of that epoch today, right now. Again, why they even bother, pushing some kind of weird goalpost into the future, I don't know. Currently, our CO2 levels, and I read that. So this is important. Listen up. Ice sheets today haven't had a chance to catch up with CO2 forcing, meaning there's a lag time in melt and temperature rise having to do with the current level of CO2 in the atmosphere. Yeah. So it's just kind of a matter of time before we catch up with where we should be, which is, again, 3 or 4C or 20 meters higher ocean levels, however long that takes to happen. We are burning through the Pliocene and heading towards the Miocene-like future, said another of the authors, Gavin Foster, a professor of isotope geochemistry at the University of Southampton. We now have to go further back in time to find situations that are relevant. Or just go forward and call it what it is, which is, a 100% extinction event. I don't know. LC, nobody likes an alarmist. No, they sure don't. Nobody does. Everybody's like, please shut up. Please let me be really upset at the messenger. Let me not be upset at the truth. Let me be really mad and angry at the person that's telling me the truth, because dang it, I don't want to hear it. And I'm tired, sick and tired of hearing your blahing about the end of the world. Oh my God. Huge lag, says Jackson Messer. Siri Ariat says, yay, no more ice ages. Book Hermit also chiming in with ridiculousness. CO2 causes about 1/6 of the temp rise that people here like to think it does. Okay. I don't know where you get your information, Book Hermit, but whatever. Carry on. What are you on some kind of climate skeptic website somewhere, Book Hermit? Please let me know where you're getting your information. You've been tuning into some Tony Heller videos or something, Book Hermit? I don't know. Where do you get your information? I'm not really sure. Doesn't sound very plausible to me, though. Yeah. Snooze the alarmist. Well, if you want to feel better, guys, just listen to Book Hermit. Everything's fine. He's just trying to let you know that it's really not that bad. Anyways, 99.99% extinction is quite possible, says Jackson Messer. I mean, I don't want this to be true. I'm not like, haha, it's, I'm not like, yay, this is a good time. I'm just, the truth must be realized before, I guess, people can run outside in the streets like their pants are on fire, or gather in front of the White House to say like, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. Whatever it is, the system is that we're running with, it's not happening anymore. Or maybe you don't need to gather in front of the White House. Maybe you just need to opt out and do your own thing. I don't know. Well, Book Hermit, I guess you should be ready for life after the collapse. I would agree with that. I mean, who knows how long the collapse is going to take? Who knows? Poppy Davis, right. I didn't really understand that comment because it's kind of like you're saying that CO2 doesn't cause warming, which is like kind of the basis of the whole theory of CO2 warming causing climate change there. I just don't understand the point of what. I don't understand your point. Anyways, whatever. Lightning Rod says we are winning. Yes, of course. Just as long as you want, as long as we're winning, that's fine. And again, if you want to go with CO2 equivalent, we are above 500. I don't even know what the number is. It's 5 something, 520. Who knows? 518. We're above 500. And you want to, if you really want to get depressed, when after methane heats up the atmosphere real fast and it breaks down into CO2. So there's even, it doesn't break down into it doesn't go away. It breaks down into CO2 and continues warming as CO2. So, hey, it's a bad time for everybody. Whatever. Siri Iriot says 0.1% surviving means 8 million people may survive. And survive what? Survive, what are they surviving? Or how? How are they surviving, or what are they surviving? What exactly are they surviving? Anyways. Creative experiments. What? What are you saying? Creative Experiment says 750,000 Americans are going to die from COVID-19. I really doubt that number is going to happen. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. A lot of people. Anyways, yes, plant food, of course. More plant food. Anyways, let's move on before the video is over to a couple more things I wanted to cover. This headline doesn't really make any sense to me. But anyways, northern right whales are on the brink and Trump could be their last hope. The species was declared critically endangered on Thursday with fewer than 450 left. Well, if Trump is their last hope, I don't, what are the logical conclusions from that statement? When boaters spotted a dead North Atlantic right whale off Elberon, New Jersey on June 25th, marine biologists quickly established the identity of the hulking gray carcass. With only 400 such whales left in the world, every individual is known to researchers and cataloged. This one, the 6-month-old calf of whale number 3,560, had been struck several times on the head, suggesting one or two, or possibly two, vessel collisions. On Thursday, such whales here's an interesting and terrible fact that maybe you guys know or don't know. The whales got their name because they float after being killed, and thus were considered the right whale to hunt. Oh my God. Were placed on the red list of critically endangered species by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. The last classification before they are gone from the wild. The task of responding will fall to an unlikely champion, President Trump, whose recent appeals for support from Maine lobstermen could clash with the task of saving the right whale. Oh, because, lobstermen we need them jobs. Jobs. So screw the environment. Jobs. I don't see this ending well. A lot of the dynamic was bad anyways, and under Trump it got worse, said Dr. Corcoran. The right whales are dying at an alarming rate from ship strikes and entanglement in lobster and fishing gear. NOAA's Fisheries Division found that to avoid extinction, the population cannot afford even a single death a year, but since 2017, 31 deaths have been reported. The calf found off Elberon was the 11th North Atlantic right whale known to have died since June 2019. It's just unrelenting. Plans to enact new federal rules are underway. Whale experts say they are insufficient, but even so, The proposed regulations have met with strong resistance from New England's politically powerful lobster industry. Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, guess what industry needs to go? Guess what industry needs to be nationalized and then dismantled immediately? Yeah, lobster industry leaders fear more regulations will imperil their livelihoods. Well, get another job. Grow some food. Do something else. Too bad. So sad. So sorry. Because my job. Climate change is imperiling lobster fishing. Yes, right. So these guys won't have a job anyways because the lobsters are gonna go away too. Ridiculous. By 2050, warming is expected to cut lobster populations in the Gulf of Maine by as much as 62%. Or how about by 2035, lobster populations will be cut by 70%. How about that? That's a more realistic number. Yeah, nothing good is going to happen or come of this. More whales are going to die. More lobsters are going to die. More lobster fishermen will lose their job. Don't eat lobster anymore, says Sandy. Yes, indeed. Don't eat lobster. I highly suggest giving up on fish as a food source. The fishing industry is destroying the oceans, hand over fist. And the fish, you probably don't want to eat the fish coming out of the ocean anyway, so there you go. Andy the gardener says lobsters have increased because there's no fish anymore. Right. But then eventually the lobsters will decrease too. Anyways, let's move on to the last story I want to cover for today. We might go a little late, but I started a little late, so there you go. This is from Scientific American. Again, this is kind of a reiteration of the same story that seems to have... Oh. Hold on one second, guys. I didn't see this. Sometimes the articles, they sneak up on me. This is from December 3rd, 2013. But, it's saying stuff that we're saying today. 7 years ago, they're saying like, hey, safe limit for global warming is lowered dramatically by experts. So I think what they're saying, I kind of skimmed this anyways, but I didn't see the date. What they're saying is the safe limit for global warming is not 1.5 C or 2 C. It is 1 C. David Hansen was saying this, has been saying this for a long time, and people have been saying this for a long time. We actually already passed the safe limit for global warming because at 1 C, it's actually 1 C is the level or the temperature at which feedback loops and tipping points start getting crossed. We trigger irreversible catastrophic climate change, right? And I believe, Guy McPherson has been saying this for years as well, right? I'm positive I've heard Guy McPherson say this over and over and over again, that if you pass 1 C, and David Hansen has said this as well, if you pass 1 C, you trigger catastrophic, irreversible climate change. You trigger tipping points and feedbacks that will not be able to be stopped. So, what is old becomes relevant again. This is not new news. This is old news. Jackson Messer says CH4 methane levels don't go down each decade, they go up. So it doesn't matter that a particular molecule may have broken down, the overall level is higher. Yeah, well, they are going up because more methane is being released. But what I'm saying is in the long term, right? It takes I don't know what the half-life of methane is, is it 10 years or 20 years? I forget. The thing is that however long it takes for methane to break down, at the end of its, you know, breakdown cycle, it breaks down into CO2. So it adds, so, you know, as methane goes down, CO2 just keeps going up because methane becomes CO2. That's what I'm saying. It's a pretty dastardly catch-22. Hey guys, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. You can also support the channel at the links below. PayPal, Square, and Patreon. Also, all of my live streams are available for listening on Patreon if you happen to miss them during the day. So you can sign up for my Patreon for as little as $1. If you want to go check out the live streams, they are all there. Thanks a lot.